So, we're talking today about the gifts. It's the time of giving. If you haven't watched any commercials, you might not know that. It is the time of giving, and supposedly this tradition started with the Christmas story in Matthew, where the wise men, the Magi, came from afar, and a magus, which is the singular of that, was a Zoroastrian priest, a priest from ancient religion in Iran, in Persia at the time. And so these Eastern priests got a message somehow that this amazing thing was about to happen, that this baby was going to be born, that was going to change everything. And they saw a star rising, and they followed it. They were told that if they followed it, it would take them to the place where the baby lay. And traditionally, legendarily, what they brought, there were 3 of them. I didn't say how many of them there were, but there were 3 gifts that were given. One was the gift of gold. One was the gift of frankincense. One was the gift of myrrh. Now, gold represents worldly wealth. It represents money. And at that time, what they were trying to say is not, here's money because you need it, but gold is what kings have. Gold is what shows, if you have gold, that means you're in a leadership position. And so they were honoring kingship, perhaps. Frankincense is an incense so it represents an essence, a spiritual essence. So gold was sort of worldly king. Frankincense was spiritual leader, spiritual significance. And myrrh is a gum resin. How many of you given a baby a gum resin lately? No, we don't do that. Myrrh was something that they used to dress the dead, to anoint the dead. And so, you give that to a baby. But the idea behind this is that this spiritual king would have dominion over death, that life is eternal. And so the death of the body is just one step in eternal life. That's sort of the idea behind it, or my interpretation today of the idea behind those gifts. And the Magi themselves represent that wisdom in us that is so ancient. It's not following a rule book, it just knows. It somehow knows. We are the Magi. And we are called upon, in the face of the spiritual master, in the face of the Christ, in the face of that one spirit of love alive in the world, we are called upon to give of our worldly wealth, of our spiritual essence, and willing to release this life, knowing that this isn't all there is. That's what I believe we're called upon to do. Now, the other legend about gifts around Christmas time is the legend of Saint Nicholas, who was he was a Christian in Turkey who was born very, very wealthy, and historically, it seems like this is someone who really lived, and he eschewed his own inheritance and decided to live humbly and used his money to help others. And some of the legends are that if he knew someone was poor, he might leave shoes outside their door if they couldn't afford shoes. One of the legends is that there was a father who had 3 daughters, and he couldn't afford a dowry for them, and he couldn't afford to keep them either. So back then, if you were a woman, you'd get kicked out on the streets, and you had to make your living in the only way that you were allowed to make a living, which was not the way anyone would want their daughters to make a living. And so St. Nicholas just threw gold bags through their window 3 nights in a row to provide the father with a dowry. So this idea of using our abundance to help those who are less fortunate, to protect the vulnerable, that's part of the legend as well, the legend of St. Nicholas. And that sort of got into Santa Claus, which is where we are now in a lot of ways. This idea of St. Nicholas became Santa Claus, and just it's very fascinating to read the history of all of it, and there are different versions of it, but it's fascinating. But basically today we ended up with a Santa Claus who's a little bit of all of that. But something happened along the way that rather than giving to where it was needed, Santa Claus gives to who earns it. You have to be a good girl or boy. So think about that. Think about that. And it is, it's a good way to in the last weeks before Christmas, to threaten children to behave well. And yet, the spirit of giving, that is Santa Claus, isn't asking for earning anything. It knows that giving is itself a gift and that everyone deserves good. Everyone deserves good. And from that, we started gifting to each other. Santa Claus brings gifts. That was always one of my favorite things when my daughter was little, to see what Santa Claus brought her. I had no idea going into it what it was going to be. But to see what it brought her and to see the look on her face. But also the gifts, when I've shared with you, I didn't start celebrating Christmas until I was in my mid-20s. And at that time, not the first year I celebrated, where it was just sort of given to me at the last minute, and it was sort of almost a private, personal celebration with my daughter. But then the next year, I was geared up. She was almost 2 at that time, and she kind of was more cognizant of what was going on. And so we were out shopping, and I said, we're buying gifts for the people we love, because that's what you do at Christmas time. And she would say, can I have that? No, you can't. Because we're not buying for ourselves, we're buying for the people we love. And she said, what are we going to buy Grandma and Papa, who do not celebrate Christmas? Right? And I was like, well, whatever you want. Let's pick them out something. Because I wasn't about to tell her, if you don't celebrate Christmas, you don't get any gifts. Which started the tradition of my parents only celebrating Christmas by eating Christmas dinner and receiving gifts. It's one of the best ways to do it, I gotta tell you. But so we give to each other, and that is, I just remember the feeling that year of, I have this opportunity to just buy gifts for everybody that I know and love, and try to find the perfect thing that's gonna make them realize that I really know them, and I really love them, and I really value them. And I love that feeling. It's such a great feeling. And then you go for 35 years or so, and you realize everybody you know has all the stuff they need, plus 10,000 times more. What do you give to a hoarder? There's that question that comes up. You don't have any space in your house. What do I give to you? It becomes more and more fraught. I don't know if that's true for you, but for me, I think it becomes more and more fraught. And it's this idea that now it's an obligation. Now I have to. And so it's easy to get caught up in that at this time of year, and wanting the perfect gift and being disappointed if we can't find the perfect one. And my grandmother used to call it, when my cousins would give her something that was obviously not her in any way, like Chanel No. 5 to my grandmother, who never wore perfume in her life. She would say, something to put paper around. She didn't say it to them, but she said it to them. She said it after they were gone. But so we don't want just something to put paper around. We want to give something of meaning, but it gets harder and harder, doesn't it? So the trouble with gifts, this is what I've come to. And I've been thinking about gifts this summer. I decided I was going to do a sermon on the Magi and gift giving. I had an epiphany at the time, but I can't remember what it was. So just kind of been belaboring, like, how do I deal with this gift thing? Because I have my own feelings about the gifting thing. With 7 grandchildren, 5 of whom have spouses, and 10 great-grandchildren, and 1 on the way, I got a lot of people to buy gifts for. A lot of people. So it becomes very stressful. So what I have to do in order to mitigate my own stress, to go, wait a minute, how do I want to do this? Because that's one of the things I've said from the beginning. This is a choice. You don't have to celebrate. It's a choice to celebrate. And when you make the choice to celebrate, you also get to make the choice in how you celebrate. How do you want to celebrate? And I get myself all out there, and I have to draw it back in. Wait a minute. I'm the one giving. How do I want to give? And the trouble with gifts is that they're always more about the giver than they are about the receiver. Right? What I give to you says a lot more about me than it says about you. I may imbue meaning to a gift that to you means nothing. Maybe my cousins thought my grandmother deserved Chanel No. 5, and she deserved to have that much money spent on her. She did not receive it that way. So we are imbuing meaning to our gifts, which may or may not translate to the person to whom the gift is giving. So we have to take that back. There's miscommunications. The first year I did Christmas stockings with Bob, I thought it just meant all the small presents go in there. And I bought him like an antique watch and a Swiss Army knife. And I filled that stocking up with good stuff, and I got like a magazine and some Twizzlers. I was like, I think I might not understand how this is supposed to work. So isn't it funny, though, what we do, the things we do in our heads, the things that we do in our heads? So this idea of understanding that any meaning is coming from us, and that the meaning exists regardless of the gift. And so maybe we can worry a little bit less about what the physical gift is and really concentrate on what is the meaning that I imbue this with? What am I giving here? If it's more about me than it is the thing that I'm giving, what is it that I'm giving? I read a story not too long ago in Rachel Naomi Remen's beautiful book, My Grandfather's Blessings, where she talks about a little boy that was a child of friends of hers, and she went to their house often, and she and the boy just really developed a relationship, she and this 4-year-old boy. And one of the things they did together every time she came over there, he had 2 little Matchbox cars, and they would each take a car and they would just drive it all over the place. They would drive it on the windowsill and across the couch and across the floor, and every time she came, that was their game. They would just do it over and over again. And so she got it into her mind, I want to give him a whole set of Matchbox cars. She wanted to do it in a gracious way. She knew his parents couldn't necessarily afford to go out and get that much, and she didn't want to make a big deal of it. But there was a giveaway at the gas station, free Matchbox car with every fill-up. And so she worked with all of the other doctors that worked with her and said, when you get your gas from here, and here's the list so we don't all get the same one, pick one of these and get a Matchbox car. And she assembled the whole set and was so excited to give it to him. And the next time she came to the house, there were little Matchbox cars all over the windowsill, all over the couch, all over the floor. And the little boy did not play with them at all. And she tried to get him engaged, and he kind of just was, And then finally, the next time she came over, when it was still true that he wasn't playing with them, she asked him about it. It's like, you have all these cars. How come you don't play with them anymore? And he said, it's too many to love. Did you feel that in your gut? Isn't that what happens to us with this glut of gifts? It's too many to love sometimes. It's too many to love. So our answer as receivers, when it feels like there's too much to love, is to realize that it's not about the gift, it's about the giver. So that's the trouble with gifts. It's all about the giver. And the awesome blessing of gifts is that it's about the giver. It's more about the giver than it is about the gift or about us. And so can we see whatever we receive? Can we receive it graciously, whether we like it or not? Obviously we say thank you because we were taught to be polite, right? But whether we like it or not, whether we're going to give it away later or whatever, that we take the moment to go, this is somebody giving me a little piece of their heart because they thought of me. And to receive it in that way, receive it not as a thing, but receive them. Because here's the thing, you can't love things. You cannot love things, you can only love people. And so regardless of the gift, we get to love the person. Do you think the Magi went, I don't know, gold, should I bring silver? What would be better? Do they already have too much gold? They brought whatever gift symbolized what it was that they thought or wanted for this child. And so we get to do that. And Mary just looked on these things and was serene. It reports a lot about Mary just looking on it with serenity, just going, okay, this is God's deal. It's not mine. It's not even my deal. So I'm just gonna sit here and ponder these things in my heart. So can we then sit back and ponder these things in our hearts? Can we understand that each person gives from where they are at the time, and that the fact that they are giving shows regard, and that our ability to receive, because a lot of us are a lot better givers than we are receivers. Would that be true of you? Yeah. It's hard. I see some people going, no, I love to receive. Bring it on. Good for you. That is spiritual. That is some spiritual growth if you can receive well. Some of us are like, no, I want to buy the gifts, but don't. I don't want anything. I don't need anything. Don't give me anything. I don't need anything. Well, it's not about what I need. It's about what they want to give. It's about what they want to give. I can receive the person as the gift. I can receive the person as the gift. Because here's the deal. We're not exchanging things. We're exchanging energy. Right? So let's take our mind off the things and let's think about the energy behind the thing. We're exchanging the energy of love. We're exchanging, hopefully, the energy of peace, the energy of hope, the energy of connection, the energy of faith. We're giving and receiving energy. So it's not so much what you give as it is how you give. What is the intention behind your gift? Can you, rather than doing what I often do, is I don't know, was that the right, should I have? I could have done that better. Was that really the best thing? You know, how are they going to receive it? Are they going to like it? No. Let's take it back in. Take it from out there, bring it back in here and go, how can I give this with all the love in my heart? How can I give this in a way that imbues the meaning that I have into this energy that I am giving to another, and let go of how they receive it? You know, of course, we hope they receive our love with love, but that's not our business. How they receive it is not our business. So we change how we give. We focus on the giver. What is it that I'm here to give? What is the meaning that I imbue? What is the energy that I am hoping to exchange with another? And then also when we receive, rather than looking at the thing or how much it cost or whether, they spent too much, they shouldn't have done that. I don't know if they could really afford that. They shouldn't have bought me this gift. I don't know if you do that, but I do that. Or something to put paper around. It's kind of an ungracious way to receive a gift. But instead of any of that, just, this person, how can I receive the energy that's being given here? I'm being given love. I'm being given regard. Someone is seeing me. Someone is present with me. In this present is the present, right? Is the presence, all of that. So we get to begin to be a little more careful about how we give and how we receive. And that takes so much pressure off of what we give and what we receive, and whether the UPS guy completely spoiled the surprise, which could have happened at my house this week. Just saying. Yeah. It's not about that. It's about the energy given and received. So here's what I ask. What's on your Christmas list this week? Because what comes up for me when I hear that beautiful song is that, yes, we all want that. We want that for the world. No more lives torn apart. Wars never start. Time heal all hearts. Everyone have a friend. Right always win. Love never end. Yes. Do we have control over that out there? But we have control over all of that in here. I can refuse to participate in my or anyone else's life being caused more pain or harm. I can be unwarlike in my attitude toward the world. I can tread lightly and harmlessly and not use my anger in ways that send energy of anger and negativity into the world. And then wars will never start. I'll never participate in one, and that is a less warlike world for all of us. And time would heal all hearts. Allow the healing that is our natural birthright to happen in us and in others, and don't try to force it. And if everyone should have a friend, then by golly, I need to be a friend to everyone that I am directed to be a friend to, including myself. And what I think is right gets to win in me. It doesn't matter if it wins in anybody else, and I don't need to use my judgment to even decide whether what they're doing is right or wrong. But I can look at what's going on in me. Am I acting in accordance with my highest beliefs and my highest self? And love would never end. Well, here's the deal. It doesn't ever end. That's the beauty of love. That's the beauty of energy. It doesn't go away. You give that energy out, it's there always. That energy of love is just as present in and with you, whether you ever see the person again, whether the person has left this physical plane, whether you see them every day and they bug you. It doesn't matter. The love never ends when I allow myself to be awake to what that love is in my life. So, if you want to give the perfect gift, that's what all the commercials say, the perfect gift. What if you decide that whatever you give is perfect if it's given with love? It doesn't mean you don't get to try to pick out the thing you think will most please them. That's fine. But don't make it about that. Make it about how I give this with love. What I offer, presence. I'm here with you. Energy. Seeing. I see you. Listening. I listen to you. In short, love. That's what we're giving. And then we receive perfectly when we remember that the giver is the gift, and we receive it as love with gratitude. And that includes all the music, all the color, all the light, all the tastes, all the smells, all the embraces, right? All of that is going on. There's other stuff going on too, but where do we focus our energy? What energy do we choose to take in and allow to have its way in us? When we choose to take in that energy and to focus our energy on that, on all of the beauty, then Christmas really is the season of giving. And each and every one of us brings our perfect gift. Thank you. So I just want you to, we're going to take that into meditation for a few minutes. Take a deep breath and give yourself the gift of just being present in this room, here and now in this moment, partaking of the gift of life freely given. And allow these words to just drift into your consciousness. I am the giver. I am the giver. Meaning I am as the small you and me, but the I am, the one God, that consciousness of perfect love, is the giver. When you breathe that in, allow it to loosen every tight place within you. Because when we know that I am the giver, we understand that all that is required of us is to be the truth of who we are, which is love, alive in this world. Takes the pressure off of finding the perfect physical expression of giving and allows us to put the emphasis on ourselves, on that givingness that wells up within us simply because of who and what we are. And in this moment, I invite you to just allow that feeling of givingness to overflow in you, to fill up and spill over the edges so that you are so full of giving energy that those to whom you give whatever you give, a hug, a smile, a new Lexus, an art project made with dried macaroni, whatever the gift is that you give or receive is imbued with this spirit of givingness, which is the Holy Spirit of love alive in the world right now and in you right now. And so, as you give your gift this holiday season, instead of watching closely the face of the recipient to see whether they liked the thing, I invite you to come to this place in your own heart, to come to the giver that is you, this overflowing fountain of givingness, and understand that it is enough, whatever it is. It's not only enough, it's perfect. And if in this moment the faces of the people to whom you know you'll be giving this season happen to come up in your mind, just gift them with this love from your heart right now. One perfect expression of that is gratitude. Just seeing them all as someone you are so gratified to have in your life. To have a recipient for our gifts, for the energy that we want to exchange, for the love that we want to give, is blessed and sacred and amazing and wonderful. And in this place of overflowing givingness, understand that not different or separate at all, but simply the other side of that same coin is our ability to receive. When we open ourselves to truly give the gift of love, then we receive all in love with love. And if the faces of those who you know will probably give you something this season happen to come up, take your mind off the gift and focus on the love that is in their hearts. However imperfectly given it may be, it doesn't matter. The love is the truth of them. And so in this space of givingness, we receive the truth of the love that they are. We accept the energy of love to come in and fill us up, even as we are overflowing and pouring it out again. And understand that in both exchanges, we're not just the giver or the receiver, we are the gift itself. It is love that we're giving and receiving, and we are that love. And so we allow ourselves in this moment to just embody it, to take note of it so that we can remember it. On Christmas morning and all the days in between. And so we can take that gift with us into the new year, knowing that love is always present, always being given, and always available to us to give. In that beautiful reciprocity of the giving and receiving of love, we rest in faith, in peace, in love, in gratitude. We say, thank you, thank you, thank you, Spirit. And so it is. Amen.